Gaming and tech this week. YouTube is planning on new AI features for creators that we got to talk about. Bungie has released a roadmap for Destiny 2 that might help things out over there. Plus, we have Mortal Kombat is really about to blow up in roughly 2 weeks. Welcome, nerds, to this week's edition of the Gaming and Tech News, generally speaking. Now, I'm no Linus or Spawnwave or Gamers Nexus or insert channel that is dedicated to the tech and gaming news here. That's not what you're getting here. This is just enough to keep you informed, generally speaking. We do this just about every week as part of a larger news show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel. You can find that linked down in the description or at the end of this video. Now let's talk about some gaming and tech and maybe even some like photo, video kind of news as well. I promise we're not going to be quite as verbose in the rest of the sections this week as we were in music. There was just a lot to talk about in music. So let's get into trailers for gaming and tech because we don't have any follow-ups or corrections to make. We do have kind of two new trailers for Mortal Kombat 1 though. And honestly, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, if you're deep into the lore, like both of these trailers are equally as exciting. But if you're just playing, you're a more casual player, you don't really get into the mythology, then the big trailer is the one that you're going to want to watch. But either way, both of them are freaking exciting. We have the reveal for Noob Saibot gameplay trailer. We have the tease from the night before and then the actual trailer from yesterday morning as you're watching this, or this morning as I'm recording. I have Noob Saibot tattooed on my skin. That is the level of fandom I am at with this guy, and so super freaking excited for this to happen. He became my main. I started with Scorpion like I always do because overall I am a big Scorpion nerd, but the dichotomy of Scorpion and Noob Saibot is kind of the biggest draw to this franchise for me. So the fact that we're finally getting my other, like I can't even call him my second favorite character. It is just my other favorite character in this franchise. And just the gameplay tweaks that we have already seen in these two trailers that we're hopefully going to get a little bit more in the Kombat cast before this drops in 2 weeks. I'm super stoked for this, and you freaking should be too. If you are a member of the fighting game community, not even just Mortal Kombat, if you just like fighting games in general, I really feel like the last two updates that Mortal Kombat had, and then assuming Cyrax, Sector, or Noob don't break the game going forward in 2 weeks, then the other tweaks that we already know are coming, and then the ones that are likely coming, it's just going to be, it's not been better than this. It's finally, and this is an argument that plenty of people have made, it should have launched at this level. And honestly, I think it's even better than where it should have been when it launched at this point. This is, I almost want to say this is my favorite Mortal Kombat game of the modern era. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's my favorite overall because then you're never going to get better than UMK3. I think UMK3 definitely takes the cake as far as just overall. You got great mythology, you got fantastic gameplay. This is still a game that people play in tournament at this point, and it's about almost 30 years old at this. So yeah, never going to be better than UMK3, but I think this is the best game of the modern era easily, and by far better than anything that came out in the 3D era. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 1, check out the trailers. It's worth your time. Let's move on. Let's get into some regular ass news. That's all we got for trailers. Regular ass news this week. We're going to start things off. We have a couple of AI things to talk about in gaming and tech because we do talk about the tech whenever I, do proper research for gaming and tech section. But we have Amazon's Alexa is the first piece. There was an announcement that they're no longer going to be moving forward with the Amazon in-house AI models. They're going to be instead using Anthropic's Claude AI to power Alexa. So Alexa is about to get a little bit smarter, and that's kind of interesting. Also, for those of you who are on Amazon fairly regularly, they've recently rolled out a number of AI things. So not the least of which, the AI suggestion. You can talk to the AI chatbot and say, I'm looking for a this. Can you help me find the best options? And then it'll give you a list of options that you can find on Amazon. So presumably, I have definitely seen some things, like there's an Austin Evans video where he's playing with this chatbot, and it gives him a list of I think it was gaming keyboards. So he's looking for the best gaming keyboard under a certain amount, and it gives him a list of gaming keyboards. None of them are actually available on Amazon. So you got to play around with the chatbot a little bit. But the reason we're talking about this part of this is I just want to see if you have had an interaction with this. Is it going okay? Because I'm curious. I'm not one to really do that on Amazon. If I'm using an AI chatbot, I'm using probably Claude or GPT-4 or maybe even Meta, and I'm using it for creative purposes, just spitballing ideas and kind of bouncing back and forth. I don't actually, or using it to summarize articles for the show so that I can kind of get more succinct with my notes, but I don't necessarily trust it when it comes to like actually spending money. So I'm curious what your experience has been. From there, we have another piece of AI to talk about, and this time it's YouTube. YouTube is currently developing AI tools that are going to help with the detection for music and faces. So presumably what this is, because there wasn't a whole lot of details here, just the announcement that they're doing the thing, and they also announced that they're rolling out, or planning on rolling out soon, rather, new tools for creators as far as just AI in general, how that's going to help creators. Again, very vague kind of language, but the faces and music situation, as far as the creation side of things on YouTube, presumably they're going to get better with the music detection and also the music removal, because very recently they rolled out the option for music removal via AI. It's just not very good. Why would you want to remove music from your YouTube video? Let me explain, shall we? So, let's say you are at Comic-Con and you're creating content, and you're walking by a booth on the sales floor and they're playing music that is copyrighted music. And as you're walking by, the microphone you're talking into picks up some of said copyrighted music. It's only 30 seconds, say, of said copyrighted music, and it's not even the focus of the video that you're making. It's just incidental sounds that happen to be there. Well, if the content ID bots on the YouTubes find that music in your video, usually what happens, and sometimes it gets a little bit more severe than this, but usually what happens is you are unable to monetize your video. If you're lucky, you can still monetize to a certain degree, but not full monetization. But usually you are unable to monetize that video because whoever owns the copyright to that clip gets all of the monetization for your video. It's not fair, it's very broken, it's just the state of things, I understand. So what they rolled out in this AI stuff, it was about a month ago, I want to say. It could have even been a little bit longer than that. What they rolled out is the ability to, through the use of AI, remove that incidental noise in the background, so then you can maintain all of the copyright to your own video. But anyone who has used that has learned that it is actually not good at all. It makes your voice sound absolutely terrible, almost unintelligible. So presumably this announcement is, hey, we recognize that we didn't do great with that. We're going to make that better. Also, we're going to make recognizing faces easier, so that when, people try and put famous faces on, say, a deep fake of Tom Cruise saying he's going to mop, what was that video that was going, the way he mops the floors or something like that. It was somebody put Tom Cruise's face on like a janitor, and then they used the voice replacement and made it sound like Tom Cruise as well. So they're going to be able to detect when that happens, and I don't know what exactly from there they're going to be doing. Are they going to say you have to take that video down? Are they going to just remove your ability to monetize that video? Are they just going to put a little thing like Instagram does that says this video made with the help of AI, something along those lines? That part has not yet been made clear, but they're working on the tools to get to that level at the very least. So very interesting. I don't know how I feel about this one either. Just tools that are coming to, I mean, the music thing's cool, assuming they make it work better, because right now, like I said, garbage. But yeah, we will be, oh, and then the other side of this was they're working on creator controls for AI training, because Google is trying to train Gemini because it's not very good. So what they have done and what has been done by third parties, there's a whole level of this that really, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, go watch Linus Tech Tips. I think it was one of the, either last week's WAN show or the week before's WAN show, that they get into the kind of the nitty gritty of how this works, how they obfuscate. Well, we didn't scrub the information. It was this third-party company that then created the model for our AI, and we're just using the model. We're just benefiting from the scrubbing. We didn't actually do the scrubbing ourselves. So Google is now put between a rock and a hard place and are forced to do something else. And that something else involves giving creators the ability to opt in or out, presumably opt out. You're going to automatically be opted in, I would venture. Presumably opt out of being a part of any future data scrubs. So what they did was they took a lot of larger channels, so I'm not at any risk of being scrubbed, but they took a lot of larger channels and scrubbed through their transcripts and scrubbed through their video descriptions and used that to help train AI models. So now you can opt out of that as soon as they officially roll this out, because it hasn't been rolled out yet. But again, presumably you'll be able to opt out of any future scrubbings that would do such things. I would imagine a lot of creators are going to opt out of this because it just feels a little dirty to not. So that's what we got there. Moving right along, our other piece for regular ass news this week in gaming has to do with Destiny 2. Bungie's new roadmap for Destiny 2 outlines some major changes, including 2 expansions annually instead of just the one that they currently are doing. These expansions are going to feature more non-linear campaign formats, gameplay styles, and roguelike survival shooter. Alongside these paid expansions, there's also going to be 4 free major updates every year as well, which will introduce activities, events, and rewards into the pool of things that already exist. The first expansion, codenamed Apollo, is set to launch the summer of next year, so 2025, and will follow a non-linear story approach as opposed to their previous expansions that have been rather linear. The current expansion, Final Shape, was delayed. Definitely, we already know this because of the layoffs that were forced upon Bungie from Sony, because Sony said, hey, you're not meeting your numbers. We got to axe some of those employees. So yeah, pretty interesting there. Hopefully that is enough to right the ship, or at least a start to being enough to righting the ship of what's going on over there. That being said, that's what we got for regular ass news this week in gaming and tech. Let's talk now about suggestions in gaming and tech. Again, I'm broken. I have not been playing anything other than Mortal Kombat 1. The current state of the game is better than it's ever been. I am slightly addicted, I must admit, and it's about to get even better because Noob Saibot is launching in 2 weeks, plus the new DLC is launching in 2 weeks. So if you have not yet picked it up, it's probably on sale at this point, so you can get it for cheap, get all of the DLC characters, and brush up on your Mortal Kombat, because it's about to get much more sweaty with the expansion. Yeah, just Mortal Kombat 1, that's your suggestion. I don't know what else to tell you. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.